One of the reasons why I wandered off from Christianity a while ago and found my way back, but the reason why I first wandered off is because I felt like Christianity was challenging and that the laws, God's laws, and Jesus's teachings were very demanding. And it required a discipline of me that I was not able to uphold or put effort into at that time. And so I looked for faiths and other beliefs that were more, whose standards were lower, whose standards and teachings were more digestible, whose teachings were more accommodating to where I was at in my growth, and definitely more accommodating to my pleasures and my desires, right? I wanted someone to tell me that it was okay to be who I was and something that didn't challenge me to do better or want to be better, right? Something that didn't focus on Christ, but more focused on myself, right? I also was frustrated because I felt like God's laws and Jesus's teachings were so controlling. And I saw no wisdom or no benefit in striving towards what Jesus was teaching. And I say these things to say I know other people have wandered off for the same reasons, right? People feel like God's laws and Jesus' teachings are controlling and that they're very challenging, that it challenges you to discipline yourself and it challenges you to do better and to be better. And I think that's a generational struggle. Getting people to want to do better and to be better when there's no material reward, right? That's hard for us. But I feel like instructions only come off controlling to a people that want to do whatever they want, whenever they want to do it. Instructions come off controlling to a people that just want to govern themselves. Don't tell me that there's a God out here and that there's laws out there that's trying to control me. Don't tell me that, right? Don't put a book in front of nobody's face and don't put a God in front of nobody's face and say that, hey, you can't go out here and be doing whatever you want. Like, you have to listen to this. That's problematic for a lot of people. But I'll say this, and this gives a lot of people food for thought. I know that the Christian walk is intimidating for a lot of people because it requires for you to make a choice in three main areas. It requires for you to choose to submit. It requires for you to choose to commit and be devoted. And it also requires for you to choose to discipline yourself. And those are three choices that is very hard for a lot of people to make when it comes to God and when it comes to Christianity. It's hard to get people to choose to submit because, first and foremost, we have a problem with respecting authority. We don't even respect the authoritative figures that are on earth. We don't respect our parents. We don't respect our teachers. We don't respect our managers. Like, it's very hard for us to do that, right? To respect authority. So don't even put God in the picture, okay? And then I was going to say something else, but I feel like it'll pop up. My second thing that I was going to say was that getting people to choose to commit to a way of living, where you're constantly wanting to do better and challenging yourself, like getting people to choose to be devoted to a way of being and a way of thinking and to a faith, and having to uphold that and to strive towards that every single day, and then trying to understand how that's a natural, like, getting people to commit is very hard for us. That's why friendships can be hard. That's why marriage is hard for us. People are scared to commit because we like our options. We want to be able to have one foot in and one foot out just in case that this thing doesn't work out for us. So committing to a belief, committing to a way of living is just outrageous for our minds to even grasp, right? And then the last thing, choosing to be disciplined. People don't want to control themselves. People don't see the wisdom in disciplining their pleasures and their desires that they have. If the desires and the pleasures that we have, like the impulses that we have and the compulsions, I think that's the word that we have, if that was so good for us, why is the world in shambles? Why is our culture, I'll say the Black culture, but any culture, why is it in the way that it is right now? Why is society in the way that it is right now? Why do we uphold and we put on pedestals the things that we do right now? Why are we in a fallen world if it was so good for us to act off of every impulse that we have? You feel what I'm saying? But if you don't get that, again, if you don't get the wisdom behind the instructions that God has given us and the precepts that he has given us, if you don't see the purpose behind the design in which he's made us, including the pleasures and the desires that we have, meaning that they're not wrong to have, but there's a way and there's a place for them to be fulfilled. If people don't understand that, then yeah, the Christian walk just doesn't make sense to you. And it didn't make sense to me until I put aside my pride. And I think that was going to go back to my first point of getting people to choose to respect authority or choose to submit. We have a lot of pride and we have a lot of stubbornness that are in our hearts that makes it hard for us to submit. It's the same thing for women, making it hard for them to submit to men. It's the same thing for men that makes it hard for them to submit to God. Like everybody is out of order because we have so much pride and we're hyper independent and we're hyper ambitious. Like it's just out of order. This is now a 8-minute video. But I just wanted to share this with somebody because I know these are the type of conversations that we're having with each other, with our peers. And I know this is the inner dialogue that we have with ourselves. And we just don't really get things, but if this video helps you to kind of navigate that dialogue within yourself in a way where the conversation or the dialogue ends with you giving God one more chance and maybe admitting to yourself that maybe the way that I'm thinking about it is not the best. Maybe I might be wrong about some things. Like it could be a possibility that you're wrong. We all can be wrong. And the conclusions that you've made in your adulthood so far aren't really conclusions at all. But keep yourself open and give God a chance and say to yourself, there's something that I'm not understanding, because I know that God loves me and I know he don't want me to live a life where I'm just this robot, right? So what is it that I'm just not quite understanding? That's all. Good night.